The first tumor that came was in his brain, and that was when he had his first chemotherapy. He was incredible because I never saw him self-pitying or complaining about the situation. He was just very tough and very inspiring, frankly, because I don't know how I would react if I was in the situation. Johnny was a really good tennis player. He was the state champion in the state that I grew up in. My dad was his first coach, so we were always around each other. We would do a lot of fitness sessions together because I think we were the two in the club, in the tennis club, that were the most ambitious about our tennis. And so we were friends, we were close. He was an incredible athlete. I think people were kind of expecting him to also go onto the national level and try and play against the best of his generation in Germany. And all of a sudden he started having problems with his coordination. He would lose to player that he was beating easily. And then when it got the worst, he was missing the ball totally. And that's when they started doing the brain scans, and they discovered there is a genetic dysfunction where you're predisposed to cancer at a level of 80%. The cancer came back, so he had fought it off and then it came back. And he was devastated, and one of the guys, he texted him, "Johnny, you're 5-4 down in the third set. It's match points against you, but you have to fight." And that's, I think, gave him the initial thought like, oh yeah, it's my fight, but it's also others people's fight. And he thought, if sports helps me and the attitude that I learned in sports, if other kids don't have that, I want to introduce them to that. And that's when he approached me, he approached his closest friends, and that's when we started slowly. We had wristbands that said you have to fight, never give up. And we sold those for €1. Then we started doing the tournament, and now it's become quite big. We wanted to finance what is called the sports therapy, because there are studies that show that kids who have cancer, if they do sports, they strengthen their immune system, they have better chances to survive. So we tried to get them out and play tennis, strengthen their immune system, but also strengthen their mental state and just give them a sense of being a child. I wanted to help as much as I could, and so we came up with the Pro-Am tournament, and obviously I play in the Pro-Am and I'm always there. When we play Fed Cup or Davis Cup, I always go around with a bunch of the wristbands and try to sell them and just try to talk about it as much as possible. So when Johnny passed away, that was 3 years ago, and I was in Indian Wells, and for me it was really difficult because I was so far away and I couldn't come back. I think that's probably the hardest part of us being tennis players. We travel so much, and some important moments in life we just are gone, and that was for me personally really, really hard. But what was amazing to see is how strongly Johnny has brought the community together, because when he passed away, it was incredible how many people reached out, and I think that showed how important he was, not only for the kids, but also for a community and for our city. And it's just become so big, so much bigger than we ever thought it was going to be, and that's all thanks to him. Johnny's special case was this gene defect that has not yet been fully researched, which is basically incurable. So all the money that doesn't go into sports therapy, we put into the research. For me as a personality, as a tennis player, I think we are certain kind of creatures that are educated to be very selfish because we're alone on court. And working in that charity has just helped me to look outside the box, to be able to have some sort of self-awareness. There is much worse things than losing a tennis match. So I just want to continue to grow as a person, and for me the charity and helping others is one very important way of doing that. I think Johnny, the way I know him, Johnny was never satisfied. He always wanted to become bigger and he always wanted to do more. And I think that's also something that drives us and gives us the ambition to progress and be better and be bigger and help more kids.